Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome. I'm Bette McCarthy. I'm the chair of the Old Kings Highway Historic District, and I'd like to call the meeting to order. This meeting for the Old Kings Highway Historic District Committee is being recorded and broadcast on the Town of Barnstable Government Access Channel. In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws of Chapter 30A, Section 20, the chair must inquire whether anyone else is recording the meeting, and if so, would you please indicate your presence? Okay, I guess that indicates there's no other recording. So to all persons deemed interested or affected by the Town of Barnstable Old Kings Highway Historic District Act, under Section 9 of Chapter 470, Acts of 1973, as amended, you are hereby notified that a hearing will be held tonight on the applications listed on the agenda for October 11th, 2023. We'd like to remind all applicants and audience members that we are an elected volunteer committee following the guidelines of the Town of Barnstable Old Kings Highway Historic District Act. Any applicant or interested party who's aggrieved by a decision of this committee, they have a right to appeal the decision to the Old Kings Highway Regional Historic Commission. We ask that during this evening's proceedings, cell phones be turned off and conversations other than those before the committee take place outside of this remote meeting. When an applicant is called, we ask that the applicant and all interested parties identify themselves. And lastly, as best practices for meetings held remotely, where we may not be able to visually identify who's speaking, we ask all committee members and participants to identify themselves before making any motion or any comments. Online audience members wishing to participate during the public comment section of the hearing can use the raised hand button to notify the chair. Dial-in audience members wishing to participate during this section of the hearing should press *9 on their phones to notify the chair. And all participants will be muted, and then you must be recognized by the chair in order to participate. So our first order of business this evening is to take a roll call vote. And I'd like to do that now. And I'd like to see if George Jessup is present this evening.
I think you're on mute, George.
Yes, I'm here now.
Very good.
I'd like to apologize for missing the last two meetings. I had doctor's appointments that ran very long and kind of surprising. So,
well, George, we're delighted that you're with us this evening. So,
oh, I'm happy to be anywhere right now.
Well, our next committee member would be Wendy Schott.
Here.
Thank you. And Ryan Caholen.
Present.
Great. And Leslie Wallace.
Here.
Well, we have a full house. That's really great. Okay. So our next item is to deal with the agenda for this evening. And our first item is for Deborah Salazar and Kimberly Jordan of 1549 Main Street, West Barnstable, map 197, parcel 007, built in 1974, to replace select windows to match the existing and to replace rotting front door, modify and replace a balcony, demo existing ramps, replace white cedar shingle siding, asphalt shingle roof, and trim as required, and also to construct a new additional dwelling unit. Is the applicant available?
Yeah, I'm Jordan Swenton. I represent Kimberly
Okay.
Jordan and Deborah Salazar. Kimberly is my mother.
All
Deborah's
right.
my sister.
Well, we need to have a motion to open a public hearing.
Yes,
May I have that motion?
sure. This is Wendy Shuck, and I move to open the public hearing.
Ryan
All right.
Goldberg, second.
Thank you. And a roll call vote on that. George Jessup,
Aye.
Wendy Shuck,
Aye.
Ryan Caholen,
Aye.
Beth McCarthy, aye. So
Don't forget
now
Leslie.
with
Did you get Leslie? Yeah.
Don't forget Leslie.
Leslie,
Aye.
aye. And now we need to have the applicant discuss this project.
Okay, so it's really two pieces. There's the main house, which you described was built in 1974, and it's had a couple additions to it since. And while that happened, there's a few different types of windows on the building. And we'd like to simplify most of the facade and keep it to a hardy window that's existing and replace some of the unmatching windows. Yeah, you can see a 8/8 type there that we plan to replace some of the other windows with. And then, of course, any rotted trim or cedar siding as required with that. There's also a couple existing ramps that were added on by a previous owner that aren't needed, and we'd like to take them out. They only rise between like 10 inches on one to about 1.5 feet on the other. And there's an unsafe balcony in the back, and it's larger than necessary. So we'd like to sort of either completely remove it, depending on the contractor, or at least cut it back half and make it more secure. And also the roof, where necessary, replace, which is mostly to the north on the drawing plan, replace the asphalt shingles. So that'd be left on this plan is where it's the worst. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And so, sorry, one other thing I forgot to mention, all the purple is where we're replacing, including that
Okay.
front door, and we'll replace the front door to match in kind as best we can. But that green is actually adding a new additional window of the same type.
Hmm.
All right. Would
So
the committee
where's the-
like to make some
where's the
comments
green
on that? George, would you wish
Yeah,
to comment?
where's the green window?
It's in the front of the house, facing 6A, and we're trying to add that green one on this, on this elevation to try to.
Oh, you're
center-
doubling up?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so you're doubling up adjacent to the new front entrance door as well. That's a that style door is for West Coast bungalow style houses, not capes. The two rows at the
Yeah, the
top
two
of the
half
door.
side lights.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's not space to get a transom above the door, which would be nicer.
Well,
But
a
it's
single
still-
light would be appropriate. A single row of lights would be appropriate with the 4 panels below.
Just on the door.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, they'd like to keep the side lights to add extra light because this faces northeast.
side lights are acceptable because it's period, not this particular period, but a later period, and that's appropriate. What I'm saying is that the door itself, with 2 rows of lights, is a West Coast style door used for
Okay.
bungalow cottages, and a single row of lights at the top of the door with the cruciform panel design beneath it. In other words, 4 panels, so that you have a cross form in the middle, is very appropriate.
Okay, okay.
Okay. I don't know whether you've seen them, but they used to have like a bullseye glass. That was the center hub when they spun the glass panels using they created a blown glass disc, and the center hub was the bullseye that was used for those door glass panels.
Yeah, I have seen it. I definitely can't make any promise we'll get that for this door, but we'll look.
You're not likely to find one of those unless
Yeah.
you're haunting the rehab shops.
Yeah.
But that's where that came from. So
Okay, thank you.
yeah.
Okay, thank you, George. Wendy, would you like to make comments?
Sure. So just one general question. Are we gonna talk about the additional new dwelling separately, or do you want us to?
Yeah, I think we ought to finish the house
Okay.
first and then
Okay.
discuss that. Yeah.
Okay, great. Let's see, I think I did have questions about the windows, which I think you have addressed. So where you're gonna add a new window, so it will be like a double window, not one big window. Is that correct?
Yeah, sort of ganged up to each other, hopefully bring some balance to that front facade. I know it's not perfectly centered between those dormer windows, but
Yeah, okay. And I think it's a good idea to replace the windows to give a little bit more uniformity. I think that's a good call. And what do you envision for the deck in the back? Not the deck, the balcony in the back.
about half the footprint, if not smaller, in terms of extending out from the house. So it extends out about 12 feet right now. So we trim it back 6 feet to 4 feet off the house.
Okay.
And right now there's two, I think they're 4x8 wood columns that support it. And
Yeah.
so we just have to do new ones or relocate those.
Right, and white railing around it, I imagine, or something
Yeah,
like
right
that.
now it has a PVC white railing, so we'd either do that or if we could get a wood one, that'd be nicer and paint it, but.
Okay, all right. And then George addressed my comments on the door. So I think that was it for me. Thank you, Beth.
All right, thank you. Brian, what are your comments regarding this home?
I question the large tree that's in front of it. Is that gonna stay or is that coming out?
The large tree in front of the house,
Yeah,
staying for now.
okay. No, I think I understand the reason for the second window. I actually enjoy the fact that it's not on center with the two up above it. It's just slightly off. I think that's in keeping with the district. Nothing's quite square, and that's okay. Yeah, we're gonna talk about the accessory building or the accessory dwelling.
We'll do that separately.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the
Okay.
rest of it, I think I'm fine with.
All right. Leslie, what are your comments
I like
regarding?
George's idea with just the 4 windows. I think that will keep it more historic. The windows next to the window next to the door, I'm okay with. Now tell me about the roof. The roof is being replaced in sections. Of course, it'll be the same as what is up there already.
Yeah, we'll match
Is
the
it
asphalt shingle.
architectural or what is it?
It's asphalt shingle, it's a gray, and if we can't match it exactly, pretty much on the right side of this elevation, we're probably replacing all of it anyway, and that's where
Okay.
most of the trouble is.
Yeah,
So.
okay. Yep.
Okay.
May I ask a question? What do you have for that dormer roof?
That's a black EPDM.
Okay,
Yeah, it's pretty flat.
yeah, it is. But the EPDM is an appropriate roof for that level, that flatness. It's just enough pitch to drain, and the EPDM is the right roofing for that, rather than try to do it with shingles.
Yeah, that'd be dangerous. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, George. And this is Bet McCarthy. This house, I think all of the comments the committee members have made are really quite appropriate. The one thing that we are pretty consistent with is that all properties that face 6A, we ask that the windows have exterior grills on them. Would the owners be willing to do that?
These ones right now that we're trying to match are in between the panes.
Yeah,
They're between the glass panes, so they're not proud of it on the exterior.
is that what you're trying to match, that window that you
Yeah.
have circled?
Yeah, that's the majority of the windows on the house, so we're trying to match them.
If the window isn't as wide as that one, I would suggest that you do 6/6 to try to keep the glass size the same.
Yeah, yeah,
That's the key element, the glass size, not the sash, but the glass itself. So if that glass, I see that one is, I'd say that's a 6x9 or approximately 6x9. It's quite a bit longer, taller than it is wide in that profile. So I'd try to stay close to that
okay,
with any window that you replace.
okay. Yeah, most of them are approximately that. That's about a 28-inch width. So most of them are about that size.
So that's an
Yeah.
8x10.
What's that?
That's an 8x10 or greater. That's a 24-inch sash.
The whole window is 28 inches wide.
And it's 40, it's
I think it's
48,
56
48
inches
or
tall.
50
I can't
high.
remember. Some of them do vary in height though.
Yeah, well, the height variable can be adjusted by the glass.
Yeah,
Whether you have a 9 light above a 6, or and the larger panel should be the one above, not below. Anyway, you understand what I'm looking at here for the design.
yes, yeah,
Notice that the side lights, see the glass is the same proportion in the side light that's visible on the very edge of that photo.
yeah.
Yeah, the
I think those
proportion
side
is,
lights are slightly more, a little wider, but they're close, yeah.
but it's approximately the same height.
Yeah,
And that is the uniformity of the glazing that we're looking for.
okay.
Okay. Those gutters seem to be a bit high. Are they working? No, they're appropriate. I see you have a little beaver tail on the rake board
Yeah,
at the end of the gutter.
yeah.
All right. I think that probably concludes the changes to the existing home. I think it's now time to discuss the additional dwelling unit.
Hey,
And
Beth, can I ask one question? So what did we decide on the windows, the grills? Is it okay that they're interior grills?
that
Not interior, but in the, in the middle.
right,
of the
Between the glass, yeah.
Thank you, George.
yes.
That's
rather than having some one way and some others the other way, I think it probably makes the most sense to mimic what's on there now.
There, okay, I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
okay.
agree.
All right. Thank you, Wendy, for that question. So let's now discuss the additional dwelling unit. George, what are your comments on that?
Please define what is the addition. Is that the whole building?
It's the
Okay.
whole building, but so there's a garage. It's an additional dwelling unit. But we're planning on having my mother live in there. So that's why we have the garage, and we've tried to make the garage look more like a barn. And so the real living area is above the garage and on this elevation to the right and behind the garage.
So it's 2 levels.
Yes, yep,
So the garage doors are actually garage doors.
yes.
They're not just on there to make it look like that. Okay. The cupola, or the lantern is properly called, glazed.
Yep.
And is that visible from the inside?
From the second story there, yes.
Yeah, so that is open to provide for ventilation or light coming
Yeah.
into the middle of the building. Okay. Siding to match the house at the front?
Except for where we're making the garage, trying to make it look more like a barn, we want to do vertical barn board siding, and the rest is, yeah, white cedar siding.
You're going to do that custom? In other words, there's going to be no horizontal seam?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
So
What
here's
do you
one.
have?
Go
What do you
ahead,
have
sorry.
for a roof? That's a metal roof?
Yeah, so proposing a metal roof standing seam. There could be another type of metal roof too, in a light gray. So that is something that is a little different.
So you want it to look like a galvanized or a lead coated copper roof with the gray coloration? Is that what you
No,
were
I'm not
looking
exactly
at?
trying to match that. Just a lighter gray, more reflectant, and the asphalt shingles on the existing roof are, a lighter gray.
Okay, this addition to the side, do you have an elevation that shows the pitch of that roof and what so you have a flat roof in there, all that glass?
There shouldn't be a flat roof. Where are you thinking there might be?
Yeah, the cathedral ceiling in there. I'm thinking of the flat ceiling in that extent. Yeah, that extension.
Oh, no, yeah, I want it to be a cathedral ceiling. Yeah,
You want a cathedral ceiling there, all right?
yeah.
Bookcases under the windows that you have?
Yeah, next to the fireplace. Yeah, or, gas fireplace, whatever it ends up being.
Okay. Chimney half in and half out of the wall, totally outside or totally inside, just a profile showing.
Half in, half
Yep.
out.
So you make it as deep as the bookcase.
Yes, yeah.
So the fireplace is flush with the bookcase face.
Yeah, approximately. It might actually stand out proud a couple inches.
A couple of inches as opposed to about 1.5 feet with the,
Yes, yeah.
yeah, right. Makes a lot more sense and it looks a lot nicer.
Yeah.
Okay. Other than the vertical board siding in the center section, what's the siding here?
White
Natural
cedar
cedar shingles? Cedar shingles?
Yes, white cedar shingle. Yeah.
You're gonna do white?
Sorry. No, just the type of cedar.
Oh, white cedar,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
As opposed, well, you can get them in colors now,
yeah.
pre-dipped. And I will tell you that the dipped shingles will last a lot longer, and especially on a southern exposure. I
Hmm.
did it to my house, and they lasted 20 years. And normally the white cedar shingles in the sun last somewhere between 6 and 10. So you double the life if you use the dip shingles.
What
They're
would
more
be approved?
expensive, but
It wouldn't match the existing house, and then what would be the approved color for that?
well, you can do it in gray. You can get those shingles in just about any color you
Yeah,
want,
yeah.
and that would be part of the design. So if you want a seagull gray, they're readily available.
Is that something I could verify and get back to you guys on, or is that a color that's already approved? Or, I mean, base design right now, it's not dipped in color, but yeah, if it lasts longer, I think we'd probably like to go that route.
Oh, they
This is
really
the
do.
southern side too.
Well, usually the shingles will deform, warp, split, whatever, because one side of the shingle dries faster than the other. And if it's on the south elevation after a heavy rainstorm, it gets wet through. The back side doesn't dry as fast as the front side, so the shingles start to curl. And because they're constantly expanding and shrinking at a different rate, they weather much quicker.
Mhm.
The dipped shingles have the paint on both sides, so they don't deform. They only get wet on the paint side. They don't get wet on the inside, so they don't dry. They dry evenly. Anyway, after 20 years of researching these things,
Yeah.
that's what I've come up with.
Well, thank you.
And I had a house that had a true southern wall, and in 40 years, I shingled it once.
Wow.
So, and that was about 20 years of life, and it's been repainted, but it hasn't needed any reshingling since.
Okay.
So
Sounds
it's
like the route
it's a
to
good
go.
guy. It's a good guy.
Okay,
Now,
All right.
yeah, is the
George,
you're going to paint
does
the
that
chimney?
conclude your remarks?
Just a minute. The chimney. What's the material there? Natural brick.
Natural brick red.
Okay. Okay. Well, that does it for me. Thank
Okay,
you.
very good. Wendy, what are your comments?
So let's see. So what is the square footage of this building? How big is it?
The total square footage, I can get back to, I think it's like close to 1900, but the actual ADU is the 900 square feet.
Okay,
If you don't include the garage.
all right. And what about the windows? I mean, they're showing, your diagram here doesn't have any window panes in it. So what are your plans?
We want to see who can, if we can get a deal for the whole building. We're thinking Anderson, but we're not sure yet. And then, yeah, we can certainly do the panes. But yeah, I'm not showing it because we're not positive exactly yet. But
Okay.
if you guys want to tell us a suggestion, or certainly.
Right. And so the windows, except for the ones up top, but to the right, like those would be all double hung windows? Not like casement windows, or?
Yeah, these in the front, the center one could be a casement window. But yeah, most of the other ones would be double hung.
Okay.
Or sorry, if you go to the longer elevation. Yeah, these would be double hung. Yeah.
But
Those
the
are
ones on
skylights on the roof there, but
all right, but the ones on the front would be casement? They wouldn't be double hung?
that's the idea. They can be double hung.
Yeah, I think it would look better if they were double hung.
Okay,
That's just my opinion. Also, the roof, I mean, my preference would be to do the asphalt shingling. I mean, we don't see a lot of metal roofs, I think, in the area. So that would be my preference. And then in terms of the garage doors, are you planning on doors with like lights in them or? 'Cause
yeah,
I
let's
feel
try
like,
to
you
do
know,
a
yeah.
door with a single light going above, at the sort of the top row. You know, divided with panes,
Yeah,
but
Like
not
your
a true
front
transom
door.
above it.
yeah, like the front door, right, Leslie? Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
That would look
Because
good.
yeah,
Yeah.
because it's hard to tell without the window panes and the garage door, like it looks commercial almost to
Yeah, yeah.
me, you know, and I'm trying to
Generic, yeah.
put the things in there in my head that would, you know, make it more of a residential look. So let's see, what else did I have? I think that's it for me for now.
okay. Thank you, Wendy. Ryan, what are your comments?
Could I see the site plan for the property? I mean, not to disappoint, I don't really have a lot of comments. I don't really take any exception to it.
I'm looking at the site plan with you, Brian. The entrance to the garage and the edge of the grass separating the paving area doesn't seem to offer any access to the garage.
Yeah, that paving area isn't accurate. That's kind of the rough existing driveway. It's kind of a pea gravel. And it's not even accurate to what it is exactly. So we'd modify it to go right to the garage door.
Shifting that driveway 15 feet either way doesn't really.
No, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you make, if it's a pea stone, are you going to have a difference in elevation between the garage floor and the pea stone? And if you are, how are you going to transition?
The garage is going to slope forward to the pea stone, but the garage is going to step up to the actual ADU.
Right.
And the front door is at a different elevation.
I saw that had a step, entrance step, but the garage floor should be elevated above the driveway just a bit.
Okay.
I have to imagine you'll have a concrete apron as part of the garage floor.
Yeah, the concrete apron or a wooden one or whatever, but you're going to have some kind of apron there to make a transition. The shed on the side, is that going to have a concrete floor? Or is that going to be?
Down on the bottom of this plan, or you're talking the one on the left?
In the bottom of the plan.
The bottom of the plan, yeah, that's going to have concrete floor too. That could host an additional car, but it might be storage both.
And that might be lower than the garage floor itself.
We want it to match.
Oh,
so
you do.
The actual foundation wall will come up a little higher in the back and on the side.
Yeah, so you'd have the door approach.
Yeah,
that makes sense. But okay, just wondering how those interacted.
Okay, all right, Brian, are you complete with your remarks?
I have no further comments.
Okay, Leslie, what are your comments regarding this?
Can you get it back to the front of the, wait a minute. Yeah, right there. So there's I like Wendy's idea about the asphalt roof, by the way. I think it'll just keep it more uniform with the house. Cause it's kind of set back a bit from the house, but you could see it, so it'll be more uniform. Now, there's going to be 2 garages, but the one on the left is smaller. So it may be like more utility.
Yeah,
Okay.
Oh.
If you put the row of windows on the bigger garage, yep. Are you gonna do the same thing for the smaller garage?
that's the idea, but we don't have to unless you guys think we definitely
Well, I
should.
think it would look good, and I'm also looking at the door. And I'm thinking a row on that door and keep it all uniform would look very nice and let a lot of light in.
Yeah, okay, I agree, yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you do what I want, I like it.
No, I like that idea too,
Okay.
that makes sense. Can I say
All
one thing
right.
about the metal roof though, for everybody? One of the ideas is they actually have bad water on site here. And maybe they'll get a new well and that's fine, but that was one of the reasons for thinking about doing the metal roof. Plus maybe it lasting longer, is that they could actually gather some of that water and then filter it and use that for some of the drinking water on this building. They have a lot of iron in their existing well for the main house. And I know that,
Clarify that water for me. Are you saying rainwater?
yeah, it's
You're
cleaner, it's
going to
cleaner off the
collect
metal
it?
roof, and then the next cleanest would be like a cedar roof, but asphalt, you shouldn't drink off of that,
All right.
even with cleaning and filtering. But I mean, if it's a no, it's a no. It was an idea, and that's
Well,
the reason behind it.
is it going, you said that what you wanted that gray and
gray.
your house, the big house is gray too? Can you get
Yeah,
them?
it's definitely asphalt shingle, so it is different, and it definitely won't match perfectly, but trying to get them close.
Yes.
It's different
Okay,
materials.
so it's
and
not gonna
different
be a
looks.
shock looking at one to the other. is
Yeah,
what-
one's not gonna be green or red or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, okay. Yep, it's all right with
Okay.
me.
Okay. I also have concerns about the metal roof on the additional dwelling. And the other thing is this property is again on 6A, and I think we need to be a lot more consistent about what we approve for 6A. And I believe that it should have the same roof as the home. So I think it should have gray asphalt shingles. I think the consistency between the 2 buildings will blend in better, and that would be my suggestion on this. As far as the rest of it, I don't have any question at all with the other comments the committee members have made.
Right. And Bet, what do you think about the windows? Do you know, like putting the panes in there and the double hung, and or what do the others think about that?
Well,
Yeah,
I will tell you that Anderson offers grids mounted on the outside of the sash, whether it's double hung or casement. And you can get casement with a single row of lights across the top and then a large panel under that. Or you can get it to look like a double hung window with an extra wide rail at the midpoint of the sash, so that it does look as if it's a double hung window, especially at the end of the driveway. I did have somewhere a sample of those, but you can go to the Anderson showroom. I believe Shepley has the Anderson showroom, and they have windows of the type that I'm talking about on display. So the homeowners can go in there and look at the different kinds of windows available by Anderson. Bear in mind that the windows can be the lifetime of the windows can be estimated by the length of the warranty offered. So if they offer you a 5-year warranty, you're going to be replacing the windows in 5 years. But Anderson's is a 20-year warranty. So that's something you should look for the quality. I would say about the roof, this is an outbuilding. It's intended to be an outbuilding. It's a garage. The shed on the left side is the tractor shed. The large door is either animal door or recently in the last century, it's where you put the automobile. But the tractor doesn't need that kind of protection. So that's put in a shed on the side. And in most cases, it does not have, the authentic, that is, does not have a concrete slab for a floor. It's a dirt floor because they drop the harvesting equipment, the plow blade and everything. They just drop it down onto the ground.
Okay.
The windows for the large room to the right, it is up to you whether they're double hungs or casements or sliders. There is a third option on the windows. As for the roof, a metal roof for an outbuilding is not unusual. And the reason I mentioned the turn plate or the lead-coated copper is that's the usual outbuilding roof, and that's in a gray. It's usually a medium dark gray, and is not inappropriate, especially when the shingles weather out to a gray.
Well, thank you, George, on that. One of the things that we normally get is a barn-like garage with an apartment in it. But in this case, what was requested was an additional dwelling unit. So that was why I interpreted this more not as an outbuilding, as a secondary home. And so had the application been more for an outbuilding or a garage with an accessory apartment in it, it would have been, I guess, I wouldn't have objected to the metal roof as much.
Well, that's
So,
what I think the design is, isn't it, Beth?
Pardon me?
Isn't this an apartment over a garage?
Yes, but that was not, that was, if you look at the application,
Oh,
it was
okay.
for an additional dwelling unit. So
Yeah.
that was how I interpreted it. So,
Well, now that you've seen the drawings, you think that's what
So
they
if-
intended or just misstated?
all right, well, do we have a consensus then on the, with the committee as far as,
The roof,
being all right with the metal roof?
Well, let me say, I'm okay with the metal roof as long as it replicates the galvanized steel type roofing. In other words, it's a gray roof. It's probably going to be a coated light gauge steel or aluminum, but it's intended to replicate what was at the time 100 years ago a lead-coated copper roofing. The lead coating is what gave it some durability.
Would,
And they would last 50 to 100 years. So
would corrugated metal be more appropriate than standing seam for that, or?
no. Corrugated metal is for a temporary building. It's not intended to last 100 years. The raised a standing seam was intended for a long life. That's why it was a standing seam design.
So, but to answer your question, my preference would be the asphalt roof, I think.
The houses around, nothing would be like this.
Correct.
All the houses around do have the asphalt roof. So, I mean, this would stick out more. I mean, I'm not really objecting to the roof, but I think our job is to, you know, keep it kind of uniform and have everything blend in. So I'm kind of going for the asphalt roof too.
Question, the front house was built when?
1974 originally,
74,
yeah.
not 1874,
No, it
1974.
was kind of like a revival, 3/4 cape with additions already built onto it.
Okay. Well, both types of roofing material were available then.
All right. Do we have anybody in the public wishing to make comments regarding this?
Yes.
Hello.
Hi there. I'm in a butter in the back, and my concern is the size of this. And that I don't see any plan for screening. And we're gonna have this massive house with lots of lights kind of way back near our property. So I'm just wondering what the plans are for landscaping, putting some nice tall, some tall plantings or something that would help screen this. I guess that's my concern, is the size and how close it is coming back to our property.
Okay, I think we can show on the plot plan roughly where it is on the property, and there are, I know, some trees back in your property, and then I think there might be
Yeah, I
some
think you had
plantings
taken out a lot
along
of,
the edge back here,
Yeah.
but not tall trees. I'll double check what they were. I think they're more like.
yeah, no, there's
but-
not, you had pulled out a whole bunch of brush and trees fairly recently, and we did put a hedge in, but obviously it's not, it's not gonna block out a 2-story building.
No, it's not going to block out a 2-story building, no, or a 1-story.
So I think if there were more plantings on your side, it would just be much less. I mean, this is going to be in our face, and it's gonna change the rural character. I mean, the houses are quite far apart right now, and this is going to make them much closer together. So I guess my concern is screening.
So where is your property? Are you
So
like,
we're on the side, and my property goes on the side and then behind. So if you go that 197,003 is my property.
okay,
Oh,
And-
well,
and then
wraps around.
that's actually quite a bit, like it looks far apart here, but it's not very far apart when you're standing right on that property line.
yeah.
I
Bamboo
do see
is
a
great.
I do see a black square in the small vignette to the left. The middle one, I think, is the top one. That small square is that a garage building for you?
I don't know what the little square is not on
No,
ours.
no, the
Right
other
there.
one.
The
There's
bigger
one.
one.
That's odd. Can you move the drawing a little bit? Because I thought I saw earlier that we have a barn, a small outbuilding, and a relatively small house. That square looks odd. I don't know what that square is. It might be the barn, but it doesn't look right. No, the barn should be up closer to the corner. I don't know.
you're getting
I don't
assessed for
honestly
it.
know what that square is, because it
It
doesn't
might
look.
be, it might be on the map that was.
Yeah, there
sent
was
out at
another
the
map
bottom
that
of this
looked correct.
PDF.
Yeah, there was another map that looked correct.
Oh, that helps.
Oh, that's it right there.
Yeah, and then
Yep.
Yeah, so there's the barn, and then there's a tiny little outbuilding way over to the left, and then there's the house in the front there.
That's yours.
Yeah, that's mine. And then
Okay.
we're up the side too, the trees up the side are ours as well.
And that's where the building, put the
So this
hand
building, yeah, it's
right
gonna be
there.
kind of right, yeah, right about there,
Yeah,
yeah, right about
yeah.
there. So it's the feel, like, again, it looks quite far away, but when you're when you're standing out in the backyard, it's actually a lot closer than, it feels a lot closer, and
Yeah.
the fact that this is 2 stories, it's gonna be, I'm just a little overwhelmed, to be honest.
Well, the way I see the site plan here, if you were to align with the back of the existing house, um, the new building that we're talking about is about where you have that see where the driveway comes in.
It's
Yeah,
further
follow
back.
it back.
No, it's
Yes.
further back. It's way further back.
Yeah, right there.
That's
Yeah,
where
yeah.
that's about where it would go.
Which is
The
pretty far back.
proximity to the rear property line, and bear in mind that that blue line is approximate. The
It looks
assessors
pretty
themselves
close.
say it's no good, but there is a tree line there casting shadows, and the new building is no closer than that, and it is about as far off the rear property line, according to the site plan, as the main house is from the street. Can we go to that site plan? There we go. Now draw back so you can see how far off the back line it is and how far off the street line it is. And they look to me to be approximately equal.
Well, no, it's definitely a little, the back of that house is closer to the back line.
But the proposed building that they are talking about, if there's a setback all the way around, and the backyard of that new building to the property line appears to be approximately equal to the front setback from the street line.
What is that? What difference does that make?
Well, my
We're
point is,
talking
when you look at the aerial photograph, it gives you a better sense of where the property line is, rather than it gives you a sense of how far from the back property line the chimney of the new building would be.
Well,
So-
she's concerned about that building there. That's what she's
Yeah.
concerned about.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And the fact that I'm sorry, the abutter, what is your name, please?
Rowan Newworth.
Well, Roseanne, your house is diagonally across the corner and quite a bit down from where that building is going to be. So what you're looking at is the combination of those two elevations, right?
Well, it's the when we're sitting in the yard, and there's, I mean, at the moment, if you think about sort of, I know part of what this, the commission likes to think about is how things look, right? And right now, we don't have a massive tall building this close in the back, that 2 stories, lights coming through. We can see some of the lights from the existing house, but there's going to be lights 2 stories up. It's going to just, I mean, it's going to definitely, it's going to loom in a way that it doesn't now. And it's quite a rural property. My grandfather, sort of, it was like his little farm, and he loved the ruralness of it. And I'm a little concerned with such a big building and such a tall building there. as far as how it's going to change the character of how we experience our property.
Well,
So
I had,
George, do you?
yeah, I had
put the-
I had a 4-story building behind me, half basement and 3 stories. And we solved the problem with Lombard poplars. I'm wondering if a tall evergreen hedge would help a great deal for
I
you
think it
sitting in
would.
the
I think it
backyard.
would.
So the Lombard
Okay.
poplars are, if you're not familiar with them, they're the tall, skinny ones you see in Italy. That's the Lombard poplar, and it's a good screening plant because it's an evergreen, so it's always full, and it can grow a great quite a bit taller than, say, the ordinary hedges that they put up.
Would
Although
you
those-
be willing to go with that if he said he put that in like a poplar fence type of thing? Would that
Or-
be all right with you?
Yes.
Okay,
Jordan,
So-
what do you say?
we can add that to the certificate of appropriateness that there's a line of evergreens across screening out the back of the property there.
I think it might be important to ask the proponent if they're willing to
Right.
do.
Well,
Right.
that's what I wanted, I asked him.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure how much that'll cost and everything associated with that, but to try.
I already have them ready.
Oh.
I've had them for months ready to go in when everything gets approved.
I usually have some trees, so it looks like we have some.
We already have the evergreens ready.
We have some evergreens.
For months now.
You know what kind of evergreens they are?
Tall ones to short ones to 10 feet to
Oh, 10 feet, that would be good.
10
all
feet to
evergreen.
evergreens. Okay, so it looks like there's already a plan to do some of that.
Oh, okay. There's
How
there's
far
a
would it
couple of
extend?
type of hedges.
Right,
The whole area.
Okay,
We like our
Okay.
privacy too.
okay.
And you know,
Okay.
Jordan, that will be nice for you. You'll have a little privacy too from
Yeah.
your neighbor.
All right, is there anybody else in the public wishing to make a comment?
Chair, it looks
Gordon?
like Gordon Starr would like to make a
Yes.
comment.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Just as an observer, I see, I don't see a picture or a rendering of what this looks like from 6A. Because I see the original house and the new house as solid building that looks about 80 or 90 feet long. Just from as I drive by, that's what I'm going to see. The other point is that these plans are incomplete. And that's why it's taken so long to go through them. There needs to be more detail about windows, about what the rake boards are going to look like, what the size of the rooms are, what the windows are. We're sort of talking around vaguely about windows. We need something I think you need something to respond to instead of just blank windows. So I think it would have sped up the whole process. Thank you.
Yeah. Gordon, I think that's a great point, and I have such
Yeah.
a list of modifications here.
Right.
I'm not sure I'm
Right.
gonna get them all right, so maybe we
Right.
should do a continuance or something.
Well, I think what we can do is separate out the
Two
application
homes,
for
yeah.
the property and then the additional dwelling unit. We can address that with another application.
Jordan, what do you think about
They could
that?
be split
I
off,
agree. Yep. Too much controversy with this new one.
right? And there's
Yep.
I think Gordon made a really good, there's too much unknown about the additional dwelling that we need to have it more clarified. So why don't we, if there isn't anybody else in the public wishing to speak, we can close the public hearing and then make a motion to separate the two projects.
And can we get a rendering from the street?
Yes.
A
we
quick
need-
drawing?
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
and seeing the house in relation to the barn
Yeah.
too, I think is important as
Yeah.
well. Yeah,
Absolutely, because it's too hard, you know, you're not doing your new building justice. Because it looks very industrial now. There's no charm or Cape Cod, anything to it. And I think that's because it's missing so much. I think if you came back with a rendering of what it would be, more of the finished product, and maybe where you'd put those, because I'm trying to think of your neighbor too, where you'd put the foliage, you know,
Yeah.
fence
and the green,
around.
yeah,
So
The
you can get
the
a, yeah,
landscaping
Yes.
design,
Yes.
yes.
we can get an idea, because you're really not doing your building, this new building justice, Jordan. That's a mouthful. Because I kind of see where you're going with it, but it's very hard when you just look at it. It looks very industrial. So I agree. I think we should separate them, do the main home and get your stuff together with the additional home and come back to us.
Okay, but just to clarify, just to make sure I get everything, you're talking about an elevation, a comprehensive elevation of the property from the street. More detail, especially with windows. And you mentioned something about room sizes.
Right.
Oh,
No,
So,
we're not interested in the
yeah, I
inside.
think we don't
No.
need room sizes, right?
No.
Okay.
so we'll do what you've requested for the main home. We'll deal with that and then come back to us with the additional dwelling unit and have a more detailed proposal.
and what we're looking for the drawing is a perspective drawing.
Okay,
In other words,
Okay,
in
And
other words,
also the
bird's eye
landscaping,
view.
right? And also the landscaping.
Yes,
and
yes,
yes,
yes.
that would be, that
Can I
would be,
Ask a question about the landscaping? Does that
Correct.
fall within our purview?
okay.
Yeah, it
I
does.
don't believe it does.
I think
Yes,
new
it does.
construction is supposed to have a landscape plan, I believe.
Yes, definitely.
And that
I'm looking
includes
at
plantings.
Section 10 of the charter for this committee, and I don't see that.
Yeah.
All right,
Well, when you go for a building permit, you'll see it.
Right, but that's for a different department. That's not us. Not us. I only
Oh, it's-
raise this up because I have been in a similar situation where an abutter did not like something I did on my property. And I was asked to put trees in, and I said no.
I'm pretty sure it's in
So-
there though, Ryan, I read it the other day, and I know I had to go through the committee a couple years ago and I had to submit a landscape plan too.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
all righty.
Maybe for a building
So-
permit. but I don't-
yeah,
I
I'll
don't
see if I
believe
can
that
find
that
it.
is in the
Let's-
At the
purview.
old
move-
Kings Highway, we get one.
Let's move on with this now.
Yep, progress.
Erica, is there anybody else in the waiting room with the public wishing to comment on this?
Chair, this is Erica Brown. I don't see anyone at this time raising their hand to speak to this project.
Okay, very good then. So may we have a motion to close the public hearing part of this application?
Sure, this is Wendy Shuck and I move to close the public hearing.
Leslie
And may we
Wallace,
have a
I'll
second.
it.
All right, and a roll
you get the
call
choice.
vote. George Jessup,
Aye,
Wendy Shuck,
Aye.
Ryan
Aye.
Nolan, Leslie Wallace,
Aye,
and Bette McCarthy, aye. So now, may we have a motion to accept the application for just what was
Main.
requested on the main home?
Yes. This is Wendy Shuck, and I move to approve the certificate of appropriateness application for Deborah Salazar and Kimberly Jordan 1549 Main Street, West Barnstable, map 197, parcel 007, built 1974, for modifications to the home only. And we will have a separate application for the new ADU, otherwise as submitted.
Second, Leslie Wallace.
Thank
Change
you.
change the front door from
Oh,
8 light to 4
Yes.
light,
oh, you're right, George. Thank
and
you.
panels rather than a diagonal.
Yeah,
Yeah. Do you need me to reread it, Bet?
Yes, please.
Okay, let's start over. Let's scratch
Yeah.
that.
Jesus.
All right. This is Wendy Shuck, and I move to approve the certificate of appropriateness application for Deborah Salazar and Kimberly Jordan, 1549 Main Street, West Barnstable, map 197, parcel 007, built 1974, for renovations to the home with the modification of single row lights on the door, which would be a 4-panel door. I think that was it, right? Did I get
Yes.
it? Okay. Otherwise as submitted, and we will hear the construction of the new ADU in a separate application, otherwise as submitted.
Great.
Second, Leslie Wallace.
Thank you. And then we'll have a roll call vote on that. George Jessup,
Aye.
Wendy Shuck,
Aye.
Ryan Caholen,
Aye.
Leslie Wallace,
Aye.
and Bette McCarthy. Aye. So thank you. Sorry. I think a separate application with more detail will be much appreciated. So
Okay, thank you.
Can I move that we continue the second half of the application to our next meeting?
well, that would be if the information is submitted to us by then.
So is this a
So-
separate application and not a continuance?
That's
yes,
right.
Erica, yes, yeah,
Yes, that is what was stated in the motion, so a separate application will need to be submitted
Yes.
for the ADU.
okay,
Great. All right.
Yeah,
Thank
that
you all
makes it-
very much.
thank you, Jordan.
Thank you.
Okay. Our next application is for Tomas and Ann Telma, 115 Kevaney Lane, Barnstable, map 351, parcel 059, built in 1940 to construct a new carport with a screened-in porch and a roof deck. May we have a motion to open a public hearing?
Sure, this is Wendy Shuck, and I move to open the public hearing.
I'll
And I
second
need
it.
a second. Thank you, George, and a roll call vote. George Jessup,
Aye.
Wendy Shuck,
Aye,
Ryan Caholen,
Aye.
and Leslie Wallace.
Aye.
So now, and Bette McCarthy, is the applicant available to discuss their project?
Yes, good evening. This is Steve Cook from Couture Bay Design. I'm the project designer for the Telmas. So this project is, it's this larger house on Kevaney Lanes. And you see from the aerial that there's a driveway going up to the right-hand side of the house with a parking area. So this carport is proposed to be built on the right-hand side or the north side of the existing house with a carport underneath that attaches to the existing garage doors on the right-hand side with a screen porch above the carport and the roof deck above that. So you can see with the photograph, it's a 3-story face on that side of the house. Carport is 16 feet deep and 28 feet across. All exterior trim siding to match the existing house. And we have a a half base with a column supporting the carport in two different spots there. And then they have railings. It's like a standard type of Intex or AZEK baluster railing with AZEK or Trex or type of decking on it. So that'll
Okay,
take any questions. Oh yeah, and then this carport is 160 feet off of Kebney Lane. So I
Okay.
think I provided a photograph that you can see if you're standing on the street.
yes,
You can, because of the vegetation, you can only see, a piece of the house off in the distance. So
great. All right. Thank you for that. What about, we'll have committee remarks now. George,
Steve, you're overlapping the overhead door to the right, and that's basically to balance the carport on that elevation.
yes, correct.
Um,
It's
I'll tell
setting.
you what, Steve, I wouldn't mind it being flush with the back wall so that that support is not in line with the garage door, so that you can back out without backing into the post. I'm thinking of
Practical.
someone that actually drove into the garage and is backing out. It's on the passenger side. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that
You want to move that flush with the back of the house. I'm not too concerned about the step back on the left-hand side or the front of the house. The back of the house, it appears that you have just about the right railing height to sneak underneath that rake board. But I think the position of the footing is the most critical element of that design. And I would like to see that moved to flush to the back wall so that you're not going to back into it, because it's overlapping the door right now. I know that was a design consideration, but
sure.
nobody's going to notice that it's pushed to the rear, except the driver that wants to sneak into the garage door.
Sure.
So
Yeah,
what do you think of that?
Yeah, that's fine. Because actually the garage doors are bumped out like 2 feet.
Yeah.
You can't really see it on that elevation, but
No,
if you look at the photograph, you see they're bumped out a little bit. So I was just lining up with the corner of the of that right-hand side of the garage, but pushing it back another 21 inches is fine too, to the corner.
Okay, so that's what your dimension is from the corner, from the
Yeah.
bump out to the back wall of the house.
Correct. Yeah.
20, yeah, okay. I think it's one of those things that it's one of those things that you like to see in the car bits on YouTube.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So yeah, that extra 21 inches.
Taking the porch down, that is.
Not good.
No problem.
okay, Wendy, what are your remarks?
Yeah, I think it's a nice plan. I have a carport myself. I'm a big fan. So, and the materials are all consistent with what's already on the house, the shingles, the color, the railing up top.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't have any further.
It's there. So
Okay. Yeah, I don't have any further comments.
Great. Ryan, what are your comments?
I have no comments.
Okay. Leslie,
I think it looks good. I like how the railing on the carport and the upper railing look so nice together when you're looking at them. The thing George mentioned, see, I'd need that because that would be the first thing I'd back out into. So I could go with that one. Oh, yeah.
I wasn't thinking of you when I mentioned it.
Oh,
Leslie.
yes, you were, George.
okay. All right, thank you, Leslie. And the house is set up on the top of a hill. This is very appropriate addition, and nice to have a screened-in porch and
Lovely.
a nice deck above it. And when we make a motion, we'll have that moved, that support moved 21 inches over to the right. So, and that would just, with the whole addition move 21 inches, or just the just that upper portion?
Just
No,
the whole-
that
the
support.
whole addition would move 21 inches.
Go, shift.
I would move the whole back wall of that screen porch and the
Yep.
posts, and keep the alignment as it is. Just lengthen that wall of the porch and set that footing out of the way.
Okay,
Okay. In other words,
Yep.
railing, the whole works.
so
It's
move
easy-
it,
it's-
add,
yep,
add
just move
21
the-
inches to that. Yeah,
Yep, move it right out.
Yeah, so-
21 inches to the carport.
Yeah, to the
Yeah.
carport and the screen porch and the railing
whole
above.
thing.
Whole
Yeah.
structure, right,
And
right.
because then
in
it's
other words,
all lined up and it's
Flush with
symmetrical.
the back wall. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So it's adding 21 inches, not just shifting the whole thing,
it's
right?
adding,
It's
adding
adding, got
21
it.
inches.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay,
And you
All
see how
right.
the railing meets the
Yep,
rig
Yes.
board at the front? It'll
Yep.
do the same
Yes.
thing at the rear.
yep. I see it.
bring that
Yep.
whole thing out. Yeah,
Actually,
that's a
it might
great
sneak under.
suggestion, George. That's
Yeah.
why we've been missing you when you're not
Right?
here.
I know.
Okay,
I
All
don't,
right,
I don't want to
um,
think about how many disasters are out there. I think you did
All
a
right.
wonderful job anyway.
let's see if there's anybody in the public wishing to make a comment regarding this.
Sir, this is Erica Brown. I don't see anyone at this time raising their hand to speak to this project.
No driving school and
All right. Very good. So then we need to close the public hearing part of this application.
I
Yep.
move that we close the public hearing.
And we have
I'll
a
second it.
second and a roll call vote. George Jessup,
Aye.
Wendy Schuck,
Aye.
Ryan Caholen,
Aye.
Leslie Wallace,
Aye.
and Bette McCarthy. Aye. So now let us have a motion on this application.
Sure. This is Wendy Schuck, and I move to approve the certificate of appropriateness application for Thomas and Ann Telma, 115 Kevanee Lane, Barnstable, map 351, parcel 059, built 1940, with one modification to extend the structure 21 inches to the right to align with the back corner of the house, otherwise as submitted.
All right. And
Second, Leslie
a
Wall.
second. Okay. And a roll call vote on that. George Jessup,
Aye.
Wendy Schuck,
Aye.
Ryan Caholen,
Aye.
Leslie Wallace,
Aye.
and Bette McCarthy. Aye. So thank you very much for your patience. And you've added 21 inches to the cost to that owner.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
that worked
good
out
job.
fine. All right, thank you very much. Have a good evening. Take
Thank
care.
you.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right, bye.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Our next application is for Maureen Leveroni, 14 Beale Way, Barnstable, map 279, parcel 014, built in 1960 to demo the existing structure. So
You just want to clear the lot?
we need to open the public hearing for that.
Sure. This is Wendy Schuck, and I move to open the public hearing.
Second, Leslie Wallace.
Thank you. And a roll call vote. George Jessup,
Aye.
Wendy Schuck,
Aye.
Ryan Caholen,
Aye.
Leslie Wallace,
Aye.
and Bette McCarthy. Aye. So is the applicant available to discuss the demolition of 14 Beale Way?
Yes, hi. I'm not Melissa. So my name is Blaze Scioli. I'm a builder here in Barnstable, and I'm here to represent Maureen Leveroni and her designer, Kevin Daphne. So I'll give you a brief history on the project. So Maureen has been a longtime resident of the town. She lived at 2886 Main Street, which is a large colonial home that's in front of these buildings. In 2020, she decided to sell a large colonial home and anticipated that she would be able to tear these buildings down and build an appropriate but smaller home that she would then live in. Unfortunately, she received significant resistance from an abutter beginning back on June the 8th of 2022 and has recently, through a legal negotiation and several zoning meetings, gotten approved to do this project. So what you're looking at in the photograph are the existing dwellings that were moved onto her site. They were actually offices that her husband used to conduct his business in, and they were moved there sometime in the 1960s. We're not sure where they came from. They were then maintained to some degree so that he could operate his legal business out of there. And Maureen, after his passing, chose to move into those buildings. Kevin Daphne from Sandbox Design did a design to raise and replace these buildings, but was restricted by the negotiation with the neighbor so that the dwelling that we're proposing is the exact same size as what was there, and it is the exact same height as what was there. And that was the long battle to get this thing this far. It sits back about 125 feet from 6A. It sits down an elevation of, I'm going to guess about 6 or 7 feet. So it is downhill from 6A. And if you look at the site plan, you see that Maureen's lot, she owns that. If you can scroll back up, she owns that easement.
All right. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
sure.
we're going to take this as two separate. We're just going to do the demo now, and then I'll ask you to explain the new the new building. Okay. So the existing home is not suitable, so you're wishing to demolish that, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. All right. And then are there any committee remarks regarding the demolition of this dwelling now?
I have a question. If this building is totally demolished, including the foundation, are you then allowed to build again on this site, or does this total demolition eliminate a construction on this site due to the setback limitations and the historic restrictions? In other words, the setback from the road that was probably not there when it was originally built. Is that clear? Are we creating a monster, or are we
no,
going to be able to build back?
Right. So on 022223 filed in the Barnstable Registry of Deeds, there was a zoning board of appeals approval to do the project. I believe you have this document.
So we're not creating any problems for reconstruction? None. Okay.
So we have permission to raise and replace.
Because I was going to say, let's leave the foundation and one wall standing.
Right.
That's been done in the past, and that way you don't eliminate new construction.
Okay.
This is Ed Bowers, building department.
So
you have a special permit for this property to rebuild it?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to confirm that. Just make sure, I would recommend that you get your rebuild permit before you demo it, just to be safe,
Can
in
I
case
do that
anything
though?
comes up.
Will they issue it before the demo?
They'll, no, but they'll issue the demo, just don't act on it.
Okay, yep,
You
Thank
know, once you tear it down, then it's gone.
right.
So even with the special permit, it sounds like there's a few issues.
Well,
That's
we
what I
Definitely
was-
on that
Yeah.
size of a lot.
So we filed both already, right? Yeah, okay.
So you get the demolition permit, but you don't take it down until you have the new construction permit
Correct.
in hand.
Yep.
Thank you, Ed.
Okay. Any other
So we
comments
can give,
from
I was gonna say,
committee?
so we can give them a demolition approval and follow through with the paperwork that way. But they don't have to tear it down before they have the building permit in hand. That's what I was getting at. So I'm glad I raised the issue. All right,
Okay,
Yeah. So Bet, I don't have any concerns, I don't think there's any historical significance to the property. It looks like it's in some
Right.
degree of disrepair, so. That's my comment.
Brian, what about your comments?
Take it down.
Okay, and Leslie,
Yeah, demolish.
all right, and I also agree with that. Are there any members of the public wishing to make any remarks on this is just on the demolition of the property?
Tara, this is Erica Brown. I don't see anyone raising their hand to speak to this at the moment.
Okay, great. So now we need to close the public hearing part of this.
I move we close the public hearing section.
I
Thank
second.
you. Very good. And a roll call vote. George Jessup,
Aye,
Wendy Schuck,
Aye.
Ryan Caholen,
Aye.
Leslie Wallace,
Aye.
and Bette McCarthy. Aye. So now we need a motion to approve the demolition for 14 Beale Way.
Yes, this is Wendy Schuck, and I move to approve the demolition certificate for Maureen Leveroni, 14 Beale Way, Barnstable, map 279, parcel 014, built 1960, as submitted.
Second, Leslie Wallace.
Thank you. And a roll call vote on that. George Jessup,
aye,
Wendy Schuck,
Aye.
Ryan Caholen,
Aye.
Leslie Wallace,
Aye.
and Bette McCarthy. Aye. So we've completed that application. So the next application is for Maureen Leveroni, 14 Beale Way, Barnstable, map 279, parcel 014, and built in 1960 to construct a new single-family, one-story house with a first floor gross floor area of 879 square feet. So we need now to open a public hearing for this application.
Sure, this is Wendy Schuck, and I move to open the public hearing.
Second, Leslie Wallace.
Great, and a roll call vote. Let's go in the reverse order.
oh, okay,
Bette McCarthy, aye. Leslie Wallace,
Aye.
Ryan Caholen,
Aye.
Wendy Schuck,
Aye.
and George Jessup.
aye.
Okay, so now would you please continue with giving us a description of this new cottage that's going to be built?
Yes, so the cottage is the exact same footprint as the existing dwellings.
Okay,
It's also the exact same height. It's shingled in a white cedar shingle that'll be pre-dipped. It has an Anderson 400 series window proposed that has applied grills, so simulated divided lights, not between the glass, but on the glass. Authentic shutters. It has a shingled asphalt roof in weathered wood, intended to simulate cedar shingles. It has a red brick chimney that will contain a flue for a gas fireplace that will be in Maureen's bedroom, and that's above the words west elevation. There'll be a living room just behind the two windows. To the left of the front door and to the right of the front door will be an additional bedroom.
I thought you had a couple of bathrooms there.
Yeah, 2 bathrooms, and from this south elevation, this is what you see from Main Street. So it's about 125 feet back. There's a proposed single car parking spot to be in front of the 2 double hung windows above the word south elevation. The AC condenser screening that you see there is a vertical cedar board, and we intend just street side of that to do a privet hedge from the property line at the rear, which would be to your right, to the street at the left.
It doesn't occur to you to set that below grade so that you don't have it in your sight line and you don't have to build a fence? You're going to have a foundation.
So the plan,
yeah,
the
go
plan,
ahead.
George, is that they're actually intended to be heat pumps. So I have to have a clearance below them to make them function effectively.
Yeah, you can. I'm thinking of an area way that you set the condensers or heat pumps into, so that you don't have a problem of a visual problem. It's below grade, but it's not closely surrounded. In other words, the area that you would have for that board fence,
Right.
you simply make an area way below grade. I don't imagine these units are more than about 2.5 feet high. That fence is not that. So
Yeah,
you
we
wouldn't have to go any deeper than that.
Yeah, we
So-
could do that. We just recently completed a project like that, but they weren't heat pumps. They were traditional condensers, but we could recess them down.
Yeah.
The reason I say that is because your fences are usually deteriorating a lot faster than you might imagine when you surround air conditioning because of the humidity that is part of the air movement. The wooden fences are wet all the time, so they rot out in a hurry. But if you put them below grade and have enough air around them, it's a concrete surface, so it's unaffected by the moisture.
Right. So I have heat pumps at my house, and we were advised when we put them in that you shouldn't put fencing around them, and you got to be sure that snow doesn't build up. So I think you got to be careful about resussing them. So just my experience, for me, the fence is fine. I'm just telling you what I heard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, any other comments on this project?
I have a couple that, so, my first question was going to be, why such a low pitch on the roof? So now I know the answer to that, because you don't have a choice on it.
Right. Well, it really wasn't our choice, but
I know. So, we live with it. So I guess one question is, so the windows, the ones on the, which elevation was it?
The south,
Nope, if you can go to the
oh,
left.
front, yeah, the east.
So you
Yeah.
have like the 6/3 in some places and then like the 6/6 in other places?
Yep. Well, we have 6/1, 6/1, 6/1, and then 2/2s, all on that elevation.
Right.
So
But on
those,
the, yeah,
go
And
ahead.
those are awning sash.
Yeah, the 2/2s are awnings, and the others are traditional double hungs with a check rail and applied grills.
right.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is not for the two smaller windows, but for the others, like why not 6/6 there to make them consistent?
I think it was just something that the designer liked. He's not here to speak to that.
Yeah.
I don't know that we're relatively indifferent about that.
The
Yeah.
6/1 is a certain time period, which is not unusual on Cape Cod. The 6/6 is a colonial
Mm-hmm.
casing, and the 6/1 is a Victorian era when the cottages on the Cape
Okay.
were built because of the transportation.
Got it. And then the two smaller windows, is there like a kitchen there or a bathroom or something?
Yeah, so that's the kitchen and living room in that space. So we're
Yeah.
just trying to have some wall space.
Yeah, I get it.
So
Okay,
probably like a TV or, something.
something. Yep, I get it. Okay, those are
Okay.
my questions. Thank you.
All right. Any, Ryan, do you have any comments?
No comments. It's far off from the road, out of sight.
Right. Thanks, Ryan. Leslie,
I feel the same as Ryan. Can't really see it. It's not gonna be all that much different than the one that's being demolished, so I'm all set.
good, thanks. And my comments are, it's an adorable little cottage and there was a nice landscape design presented too, and same size as existing, and I don't have any problems with it at all. I think it's quite appropriate. Do we have anybody in the public wishing to comment on it?
Chair, this is Erica Brown. It looks like Councillor Starr has a comment.
Thank you, Erica. No, I just think it's very appropriate, and I think it's a great improvement from what's there.
Agreed.
What's there now definitely needs to be demolished. So this will be great. Thank you.
Thanks,
Okay.
Gordon.
Thank you, Gordon. Anybody else wishing to comment?
Chair, this is Erica Brown. I don't see anyone raising their hand at this time to speak to this project.
Okay, well then, let's have a motion to close the public hearing part of this application.
Sure, this is Wendy Shuck, and I move to close the public hearing.
Second,
I'll
Leslie
second.
Wallace.
Go get 'em,
All
Leslie.
right, and a roll call vote. George Jessup,
Aye.
Wendy Schuck,
Aye.
Ryan Caholen,
Aye.
Leslie Wallace,
Aye.
and Bette McCarthy, aye. So now, we need a motion to approve the application.
Sure, this is Wendy Shuck, and I move to approve the certificate of appropriateness application for Maureen Leveroni, 14 Beale Way, Barnstable, map 279, parcel 014, built 1960, as submitted.
Second, Leslie Wallace.
Thank you. And a roll call vote on that. Let's do the reverse. Bette McCarthy, aye. Leslie Wallace,
Aye.
Ryan Caholen,
Aye.
Wendy Schuck,
Aye.
and George Jessup.
Aye.
Very good. So we have that project approved as submitted. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
We do not have any minor modifications for this evening. And I believe that we have, let's see, here we have an extension for the Barnstable Comedy Club, 3171 Main Street, Barnstable, map 029, parcel 026/000, built circa 1912, a contributing structure to the Old Kings Highway Historic District. And it was to make repairs to the existing handicap access ramp, which will include replacement of decking, handrails, and guardrails. And this was approved, I believe, last year. So in 5/11/2022. So we need a motion to extend this application.
Oh, just, you want me to just go ahead and extend it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep. Okay, sure.
Yeah, we don't need a public part of it
Okay,
or
nope.
anything.
Yep, this is Wendy Shuck, and I move to approve the request for extension for the Barnstable Comedy Club, 3171 Main Street, Barnstable, map 029, parcel 026/000, built circa 1912, a contributing structure in the Old Kings Highway Historic District as submitted.
Thank
Second,
you.
Leslie Wallace.
Thank you. And a roll call vote on that. Ryan Caholen,
Aye.
Leslie Wallace,
Aye.
George Jessup,
Aye.
Wendy Shuck,
Aye.
and Beth McCarthy, aye. So we don't have any other, and let's see, we just have to approve the minutes of September 13th, 2023. Were there any corrections or additions to those minutes?
I didn't have any.
No.
All
Um,
right.
The only thing I saw was on page 7, Leslie, third row from the bottom, Leslie Wallace's name was on there twice. That line was, it's just a typo. So that was the only thing. I
Oh.
didn't see anything else on those minutes when I read them.
Keep it
So-
there.
Made quite an impression, Leslie.
So-
I guess I did. How nice.
You want to double your remarks?
Thank you, Erica.
No
Okay.
problem, and I can fix that.
All righty. Well, it looks like our next meeting will be October 25th, 2023. And then the one after that would be November 15th, 2023.
Oh,
Point of
So-
order real quick, Bet. You just need to have a vote to approve the minutes.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
You need a
thank
motion
you.
and a vote.
Let's have a roll call vote on approving the minutes. George Jessup,
Aye.
Ryan Caholen,
Aye.
Wendy Shuck,
Aye.
Leslie Wallace,
aye.
and Beth McCarthy, aye. So thank you for that, Erica. And so now we need a motion to adjourn the meeting for this evening.
Sure, this is Wendy Shuck, and I move to adjourn the meeting today, Wednesday, October 11th, 2023.
Second,
And a
Leslie
second?
Wallace.
Thank you. And a roll call vote. Ryan Caholen,
Aye.
Wendy Shuck,
Aye.
Leslie Wallace,
Aye.
George Jessup,
Aye.
and Beth McCarthy, aye. So our meeting is concluded, and thanks everyone very much.